Greetings everyone. This video is going to be a basic guide to oil painting. We are going to get into the basics, the beginning stages of becoming a master painter. We're going to speak today about primary colors, secondary colors, and complementary colors. And I have the palette laid out before us. We're going to use this. We got a palette knife, just the simple basic tools you're going to need to start your paintings. And I have some paints laid out here, and we'll just look. These are Master Touch paints that I purchased from Hobby Lobby, and they were fairly inexpensive paints. But actually I've done a couple of paintings with them. They're actually good quality paints. But anybody can go get them. There's a Hobby Lobby in pretty much every city. So they're easily accessible, excuse me. But as I said, we're going to get into the primary colors first. And like I said, this is a need to know for every beginner oil painter. So your primary colors in the spectrum of light are going to be red, yellow, and blue. And these are the colors that cannot be made. So you cannot create red, you cannot create yellow, and you cannot create blue. They're natural colors in the spectrum of light that create a visible spectrum of color on our planet, meaning all of these colors you see are combinations of these three primary colors. And with different combinations introduces different hues depending on proportion of each color present. Meaning that if you add more yellow to red, you're going to go in one spectrum of color, and it's going to create different colors in the spectrum, and vice versa, to yellow to blue. And I'm just using yellow as an example to go to blue. But what we're going to do is we're going to take the three primary colors and we're going to start with red, and we're just going to put a dab of paint on the easel. And what I'm going to try to do here is I'm going to create a color wheel. And I'll go to yellow, and just a little dab there, and we'll put that back, and we'll go to blue. All right, so we have our primary colors laid out, and what I was explaining earlier is that every color in the spectrum is created from these primary colors. So as the light's reflecting on the pigments or natural elements on Mother Earth, it's creating colors based on what the main primary colors create in the light spectrum on Earth. And these colors, as I said, cannot be made. You cannot make red, you cannot make blue, nor can you make yellow. But and what we're going to get into next is secondary colors. So we'll take a little dab of yellow, about 5 parts of yellow, if I can get it right, and we'll just dab that in there, and we'll get into some secondary colors. So we should be making a pretty orange right there in that area. And I have paper towels here. I usually use paper towels to wipe my paints down. And then we'll take a little bit of yellow and we'll put over there. And we'll dab it with some blue. And we should get a pretty green out of the yellow and the blue. So as we can see, red and yellow make orange, blue and yellow make green. And then we'll move on around the color wheel, and we'll add about 5 parts of blue to about 5 parts of red, and we'll create a violet or purple. So as you start mixing out away from the primary colors, this is what creates your secondary colors. And your secondary colors are going to be a violet, an orange, and a green. So, and as I said, these colors are pretty inexpensive. I mean, they're quality colors. They mix well. This is a sap green, and I've already used this green right here to create one painting, and it come out beautifully. So if you're starting, it's not a problem to just, you know, go down to Hobby Lobby. And these are Master Touch. That's pretty much what they sell. A lot of times they have a 50% discount on these paints. So sometimes they're really inexpensive. So if you're going to get into painting, you know, I mean, there's a bunch of different mediums. You have acrylic, which is one of your main ways of painting. I've painted acrylic, you know, and I've painted watercolor. I've done, you know, charcoal drawings. I've done a bunch of different art, pen, you know, just pencil drawings. And as the years went by and I become a better artist, I've just, you know, lean more towards oil, because oil is so easy to work with. When you mix it, it's so beautiful and realistic in your paintings. You know, so that's kind of why I'm an oil painter. And, you know, it doesn't necessarily mean that somebody has to be an oil painter. You can, you know, branch out and go to acrylic, or you can branch out and, you know, do whatever suits you. But I found that oil paintings are more vibrant, and they're more realistic. Another thing too is when I studied under an impressionist artist. So I just fell in love with impressionism, like your old artists like Monet, Edward Monet, and things like that. So I enjoyed it really well. So as we've already moved from our primaries, red, yellow, blue, and then we went into our secondaries. So we've mixed our secondaries in. So you understand that we have our secondaries in the wheel. Now we're going to move into complementary colors. And this is a very, very important topic that a lot of artists don't learn till later. They get to, you know, messing around with paint, and they start producing some paints, and they really don't have the knowledge of what complementary colors, you know, truly are. Complementary colors are used in, you know, advertisement. They're used on football teams. But when you create the wheel, you create red or you mix red and blue, and you create purple. So if you look directly across the color wheel from purple, you'll see yellow. And whenever you look directly across, this is going to be the complementary color. So yellow is going to be the complementary color of violet. Blue is going to be the complementary color of orange. Red will be the complementary color of green. And this is very important in your paintings, because when you're painting, sometimes you'll be painting, and if you get outside of this complementary rule, you'll be looking at your painting thinking, man, something's going on here. This looks ugly. It doesn't look right. And it's because the eye of a human being is trained to to focus in on what is complementary. It's like I said about football teams. Take for, the football team, Florida Gators. They're blue and orange. Their colors are blue and orange, and that's for a purpose. It was done for a reason, because blue and orange is complementary and it catches the eye. It's more appealing to the eye under the spectrum of light. So, as we've learned your primaries, your secondaries, and now we're going into complementary. I'm going to set up a paper and I'm going to do a study on exactly what complementary colors do under the spectrum of light. So what I have here is this is a piece of watercolor paper, art paper. It's durable, so I don't want the oil paint to soak into anything. So this is a good paper for this this basic study. But what I'm going to do here is I'm going to use the complementary colors of yellow and purple, as we discussed earlier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make a circle of yellow here on the paper. I'm going to try to make a circle as best I can. All right. So that should be good enough. And then I'm going to take a little bit of the violet that we created from the red and the blue, and I'm going to place it, little dot of it over here. And that should be pretty good. Now, when I was in art school, my instructor taught me this one day, and he said, when you look at the paint that you have before you, when you focus on it, he said, when you're looking at the yellow, you should be seeing, if you focus on it very carefully, you should be seeing a purple aura, like a purple glow going around the yellow. And you have to look at it close. You have to just study just the yellow, and you'll see the purple light. And I hope everybody can see it. I've done this test on another paper to see how well it picked up on the video, and it picks up great. I'm looking at the video right now. So, and you can see like a light aura of violet, but it's a real light violet spinning around, just all around the yellow. All right. And if you look back at the violet spot, the smaller spot, if you look very closely, just focus directly in on the violet spot, you'll see a ring of yellow light spinning around in there. But you'll see it glowing if you focus on it long enough. And this is how complementaries react. If I was to put red and blue on the paper, it would not create this type of light. It wouldn't create this phenomenon. And this is why complementaries are so appealing to the human eye, especially when you're in your paintings. So if you stay in focus and stay in the rule of complementary colors while you're doing your paintings, they're going to look more vibrant, more beautiful, and they're going to catch your eye, and it's going to be more fun to paint. But there's a rule to it, and we'll get to that next. So now as we've moved through our study and the basic colors, the primary colors, the secondary colors, and the complementaries, and we've gotten a good idea of what complementary colors do in the spectrum of light. And I hope that everybody got a good view of that. I hope they've seen the aura of light that was around the yellow dot. But we're going to go ahead, since I used yellow and violet for the study, I'm going to go ahead and take yellow and we're going to use a little bit of violet. Now that we understand this process of primaries, secondaries, and complementaries, we're going to take the complementary. And these two complementaries, in history, many paintings have been painted with yellow and violet. These two complementaries, along with white paint added and a touch of red. You already have blue in your violet. You have a little bit of red. I mean, you can go towards, you can add a little red, add a little blue, if so desired, but you're going to need white. So we'll go ahead and put a little white on the canvas. I mean, on the palette, because we'll need that. And what that's going to do is it's going to tone our colors down, that white. So this, and we'll go ahead and put a little red on there too. So just after learning what we learned about the primary colors, the secondary colors, and the complementary colors, you're ready to create a painting. So I'm going to take a little yellow, and I'm going to slide out there. And I'm going to take a little bit of this violet, and we'll get it mixed up good right here. And what we're going to do is we're going to create, with these complementary colors, the darks in your painting. Now, a lot of artists, and especially these days, use a black paint. I prefer not to use black. I really followed after Edouard Monet and the Impressionist artist. Monet himself never used black in his paintings, and you can go online, observe his paintings. There was never black used in his paintings. He always created his darks with the complementaries that he was using inside of the painting. And it was the primary spectrum of light of what he was looking at. If you're looking at something that's primarily red and green, then you're going to start with the base complementary color of red and green. And then you're going to go from there with your blues, your whites, warm and, going towards the warm area, going towards the cold, toning things down. But what we're going to start out with in your painting, if you were going to do a painting with violet and yellow, that would be your darks. So then we'll add a little bit of that mixed painting, and we'll just slide these colors out this way. And then we'll go, and that's your that's your cool area. And we'll grab a little bit of this paint, and then we'll go out this way with our yellow. And this is going to be further out. It's going to be our warm area. So we're going to blend that in a little bit better. And that gives you the idea of hues. So we're starting in the middle with the mixture of the violet and the yellow. You're going to start creating hues. So you're going to create this hue on out. It's going to get lighter and lighter as we go out. So you're going to, same thing towards the cool area. You're going to go toward the cool, which is all the way almost to yellow, but you're blending in with your paintings. So what we got as we step down the line, when we get here in our paint, these colors pulled out and set to the side are going to be complementary one to the other. And this is going to continue to catch the eye inside of the painting. And that is the rule of complementary colors. Now, we can go here and start toning your colors down. And we'll go to the other side, start toning down over here. So you see how I just pulled out almost in the middle of each side. Now what we pulled out of there are complementary colors. So as you're doing your painting, this could be used for sky. This could be used for a body of water. This could be used for shiny parts and places of your painting where the sun's shining in through the trees, and vice versa. This can be used the same manner. And as we go further out and tone them down, you'll see that you have, a different hue toned down further out in our paint. So these colors right here are going to create your painting. So if you have grass in your painting, if you have a grassland, you're going to come in somewhere right here and start putting in your grass, hedges, trees. You're going to work on your trees. You're going to probably use a little bit of this yellow as you're going along. And if there's lighter branches, lighter bushes or anything, you're going to tone this down with the white, just like we did here. So, you want to if you want to bring red into your painting, then as soon as we start adding red, we're going to warm that down with a little bit of that. And then you're going to start creating earth tones. So you're going to create natural earth tones with the complementary colors that we used. And what you're looking at here is a very quick and simple way to become a master oil painter. So if we're working on a painting that is primarily blue and orange, which are complementary colors, we could do the same thing with blue and orange. So if we took the blue and the orange, we could create the same pattern, the same rule of complementary colors within the painting. And the same thing goes with red and green. And a lot of times when you're doing landscapes, you have a lot of red and you have a lot of green going on. So you have a lot of earth tone, you have a lot of green happening. So a lot of your landscapes that have a lot of green are primarily red and green paintings. And you can get into a situation where you have only in the spectrum of light a yellow and violet painting. Not only that, but I've seen many painters use primarily blue and orange or primarily red and green. So, and there's many paintings, many professional artists that go in with all three complementaries. And this is a little more difficult. It's a step up. When I was first starting out, this is the way I started out. I started out with one complementary color to the other. I started out with red and green, and then I toned everything down with white, and I added my blues as I went, and I added my yellows as I went. And it's always worked for me. It's always kept me in the rule of complementary, and I've always been able to stay within a box in my paintings without getting too lost. But there has been many a times that I wiped the canvas completely off. But anyways, I sure hope this helps y'all. If you will, please like and subscribe. And I hope you enjoyed this video.